Hello and a very good evening to all the attendees present today. I am Hiba Shahid, your co-host for this wonderful webinar. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Eaton Business School and our offerings. EBS is all about executive education. Our vision is to meet the continuous learning needs of working executives all over the world. We serve our global learning audience through our offices in the UK, the UAE, and India. EBS has developed a world-class learning platform for real-time knowledge sharing across sectors and industries. Thousands of working professionals from over 91 countries have enrolled in our programs, which are tailored to their hectic work-life schedules. By collaborating with nationally accredited institutions and reputable international awarding bodies, EBS ensures an engaging and enriching learning journey. Please join me in welcoming our co-host, Mr. Fazla Ashik.
Hi, everyone. First of all, a very good evening and welcome to everyone. I am equally excited to have us today an accomplished group of individuals whom we are proud of. They are a part of Eaton Business School as our EBSolute Ambassadors. They are the EBS Ambassadors. So let us please give them a warm welcome to Debbie Botha, a business analytics and AI expert, Mr. Louis James, a project management and supply chain professional, and Dr. Joshita, an epidemiologist and healthcare expert. To all attendees, if you have any questions or any clarifications, we will have that towards the end of the webinar. So you can just etch it out in our Q&A column as well. So I would like to go ahead with the first questions. And the first one, I would like, ladies, please, and to Debbie this time around. Please tell me what kind of background you come from and why your choice has been this specific field.
Hello, everyone, and I'm really so happy and grateful to be here. I started my career in the early 90s as a COBOL programmer on the IBM mainframes. And then I quickly pivoted to data analytics and what we call AI today. But I was part of one of the first data warehouse teams in South Africa where we built a data warehouse. And honestly, that was just what hooked me into the data analytics and AI field. I've been a consultant and an architect ever since. And today I'm the Chief Partnership Officer of Women in AI. And I started a business with my co-founder. It's a startup in UAE called Dalebrook Media, where we build communities of Chief Data and Analytics Officers in the Middle East. So I enrolled into the Executive MBA for Business Analytics.
Great. And how did you discover Eaton Business School? That's something which I would always love to know. I think everybody would love to.
Yeah. So in the UAE, I found that the best positions require MBA. So I always saw that the people in the UAE, those that really landed great jobs were those with the MBAs. And I'm really passionate about data analytics and AI, and I'm quite ambitious. So I thought it's the right time to do it. So I did some research on LinkedIn and Google and everywhere. And it was amazing how brilliantly EBS just popped up everywhere. I searched. It was
nice to hear that.
And brilliant follow-up from the marketing team. They just took me by the hand and enrolled me.
Awesome. That's great to know. Nice to know that, and nice to hear that from especially the EBS ambassadors. Very kind of you to say that. That's great.
Yeah, no, it was really amazing. The whole journey was absolutely fantastic with
Thank you.
all the
Thank you.
EBS staff and so on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, Debbie. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that, we are the ones who are lucky to have you. Now, moving on to Louis, I know for a fact that your journey from starting with one MBA and deciding to pursue another one was a truly fascinating one. Can you share that with us?
Thanks, Hiba. So yeah, I decided, in 2021, my company had been going through a lot of, transition and changes. And I realized that, having worked for so many years and always been a leader that allowed others to go forward, I was in a situation that I'd not looked after myself. And much like Debbie, a lot of this was, when you looked at it, a lot of the requirements was around MBA. So I thought, you know what, let me just do this. And funny enough, just like Debbie, EBS popped up in most of my searches. And when I reached out, and for me, that was, that was special, was the feeling of empathy, the feeling of connectedness that came from EBS. The person I was talking to was someone that was willing. It wasn't just about a sale of education. It was about, caring about me. And for someone that had not finished an undergraduate degree and that had studied many years within Transnet, I remember writing this personal statement, why do I want to do this? And I did. And so started this journey of my MBA. And I'll be honest with you, Hiba, I thought, what am I doing at this tender young age of 50 years old? What am I doing with this? And I was very blessed in that I have two kids that are university students, one in the Czech Republic and one in the UK. And they were there to guide this old dad of theirs along in doing what I needed to do. And I got so used to, I thoroughly enjoyed the engagement sessions and going through this process. I started out with an MBA general, the general MBA. And when I went through all of it and I enjoyed the interaction, getting to meet people from all over the world, I thought, why not? I am a project manager. EBS has got an MBA in project management. Let me sign up for this. I seem to be a sucker for punishment. And so I signed up. And I must share something with you. Joshita and I presented at the convocation in February in Italy.
Yes,
but you won't believe it. While I was there, my lecturer was saying, your next assignment is due. Your next assignment is due. So I had to put in that effort. But at the end of the day, that's what drove my decision. But for me, it was the significant support that I received from EBS. And I want to say this to the panel out there. I'm not saying this because EBS doesn't pay me anything to do this. I want to be clear. I'm saying this because I genuinely felt that, and I'm not going to mention names here, but I did contact other associations because that's the right thing to do, to try and find out. But it was the personal touch that inspired me to basically do that and to continue going. And the friendships that I've made, the bonds that I've made through this. It's not just about the MBA. It's about the connections you make, that lasts beyond that. It's so amazing. I'm on a chat today with a fellow South African whom I didn't meet before, but it just shows you that we're all connected by the same thing. So yeah, that was my excitement. When I think about it, 2 years ago, I had nothing. I had many years of experience, many diplomas, many things. Today, I sit as a double graduate of 2 MBAs. It is amazing to look back, and I'm extremely proud of what I've achieved, but moreover, of the effort that I put in within life. You got to put an effort in to get something out, and that's exactly where I am, and I'm proud of that today. In fact, my 2 kids now are annoyed with me because I jumped from beyond them to having 2 masters, and they now in the process of finishing their masters, so they remind me about it all the time. But yeah, that was my journey, and yeah, I'm extremely happy with that. For me, if somebody were to ask me, what was some of the best career decisions I made, these MBAs basically right up there. They rate the highest on top. Thanks.
We are really glad to hear that, Louis, and I'm sure you're being very generous with your words, but I'm sure that it was your dedication, your hard work, and your willingness to put in that extra effort that has brought you where you are today. We were just a support. We were just there to be there for you, but you are the one who did it. Now, since you also were talking about the MBA, how it helped you and how relevant it was, I also want to ask you, about the course curriculum, since you have done 2 MBAs with us. What are your thoughts about that? Does the course curriculum at EBS meet the current industry requirements and standards?
I would, without a shadow of a doubt, say it doesn't only just meet it, it supersedes it. I think for me, what I thoroughly enjoyed was the interaction during the course, not just being trained and, hey guys, yeah, Debbie, this is what you need to do, the theory of it. It was the engagement sessions that you learned from fellow colleagues, fellow professionals, that you could share and interact with one another. For me, that's how the curriculum, and truly the curriculum that EBS follows. I mean, for Debbie's a professional, Joshita is a professional, I am, to be able to do this, at the end of the evening, at the end of the day, and to be able to put in the effort and come in, the curriculum most definitely meets the requirements. And, for me, and it far supersedes it. I'm extremely happy with it.
We are happy to hear that, Louis. Thank you so much.
I should say that we are having a great day, a great evening, by having such ambassadors for EBS.
And the last, I just wanted to add one more thing, to Hiba as well, is over and above the curriculum, the fact that what you are learning, you are able to apply in real life, in your work practice, and in your personal life, is what makes the curriculum for me. So it's not just project management, in the workplace. I tried to project manage my wife, but that didn't help me. There's no project. But I'm, on a serious note, it really, that's what makes it special, is that you can take it and you can go out into your career, irrespective of what it is, and apply that. For me, that is what makes it so powerful.
Glad to hear that, Louis.
Great. And let us, shift our focus to Dr. Joshita as well. We would certainly, love to hear from you that obviously, it is certain things are pretty invaluable, which you do for the society. And being an epidemiologist, we do understand that, in situations as COVID, how did you think, when you had taken up this specific field, that you would see days like the COVID days, in fact, and what encouraged you, to take this specific field?
Okay, a very good evening, Hiba, Ashik, and everyone out there. Thank you so much for inviting me to be one of the panelists. Am I loud and clear? Because it's 11:15 p.m. On my side of the world, when we are trying to retire to sleep. I'm still
You're
up.
full of energy, as always. Don't worry about that.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, going back to being an epidemiologist in the public health section, I'm actually attached to the Ministry of Health in the Disease Control Division. So my background is such that we are involved in outbreak management as well as surveillance of the common diseases. Basically because we want to get an early warning in terms of a sudden outbreak, so we are prepared to respond. So you rightfully said that I took up this just as COVID was coming to a plateau, prior to that, I had actually done my master's in counseling. And that is because I also have passion in doing mission work, medical mission out in countries like India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Philippines. So taking this up basically because, change is constant. You have two sides to change, right? You have technical side and human side. So science and technology, education, medicine, economy, everything is changing. If you don't embrace the change, you will be left behind. So Nelson Mandela rightfully quoted that education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. So, I have always wanted to give back to the community. So I decided that, disseminating knowledge, mentoring, counseling, motivating, and also giving my time or words of affirmation is very, very important. So during the time of COVID, what I specifically did was doing something called a psychological first aid. And I was also able to implement what I have studied in terms of strategic change management, operational management. That was very important. So I chose a subject which was very close to my heart, which is and my profession, which is the executive MBA in healthcare management. So through my perseverance and commitment at that time, I was able to complete, and I was also able to make an impact locally as well as internationally. So I think, when you're able to apply, like what Louis just mentioned, apply what you have learned to your own society as well as to others in your connection, in your network, I think that gives a lot of satisfaction in your life. So that actually draw me into, embarking into this journey to continue to educate myself as well as to give back to the society. Yep.
Great. And what about, reaching out to Eaton Business School? I mean, you're in Malaysia, we understand. And how did it happen, in fact? Was it through a common friend or?
No, I think I would support Debbie and Louis on this, that I was doing a search online for an MBA program, and I saw EBS popping up in LinkedIn and Facebook. So I contacted the academic advisor at that time. So she guided me through the application process and also the scholarship that was available at that time. And then the fee schedule was very flexible. I was able to do a monthly payment. The time was very convenient. It was not colliding with my working hours. Of course, I needed to do the sacrifice. The timing was 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. my time. And no pain, no gain, right? You need to do the sacrifice in order to achieve something. So for me, so EBS was popping up. And also, as I said, the fee was flexible, the timing was convenient, modules, whatever that was being captured in the MBA in healthcare management and leadership was very, very relevant to my career in terms of applying it personally, because as I said, you have the technical side of change as well as the human side. So I need to change myself in order to make the impact and change to people around me. So that's how I fished EBS.
Awesome.
I
That's a
really
nice
think,
terminology.
Ashik, that we need to congratulate the marketing team. They seem to have done a really great job
Very
because
much.
we are popping,
Exactly.
we're popping up
Yeah,
everywhere.
this is being recorded, so don't worry. We'll circulate it.
Yeah.
Now, the next question is both to Debbie and Louis. I would like to ask you that during your MBA, how did the diverse and global exposure at EBS enhance your professional growth and open doors to new opportunities? I understand both of you are South Africans, so you have found each other over here, but we do have a lot of diverse student bodies. How did that impact your learning journey? We can start with Debbie.
Well, so you're asking me to brag about myself. Allow me just a moment. So since 2021, I received 5 awards. I was a keynote speaker at 12 events. I was on many, many panels. I was interviewed by 6 podcasters, appeared in 3 magazines, 2 coffee table books. So, well, what can I say? I'm just so, I just, I don't know what to say. So
I don't want to take away from your hard work, but it seemed like EBS was a lucky charm for you.
it was for sure. And to be honest, my dissertation is about the impact of data analytics and AI leaders in the UAE. So this study is 100% relevant to the community that I'm building, the leaders. It's going to help the impact of these leaders in the UAE. So it's opened tremendous doors. That's all I can say.
That's good to know. What about you, Louis?
So for myself, pretty much like Debbie, but I mean, it was having the ability to connect in the group sessions with so much people from all over, and specifically from Africa, because I came to know a large amount of the students for EBS is from Africa. And to kind of have that connection with people, also with people abroad, to kind of see how things are done differently, kind of opens your eyes. It takes away this blinker concept that, you think because that's the career you're in and stuff. So it really opened up my mind to see how things are done elsewhere in the world, that allows you to kind of understand how you can leverage off those skills, through that. And that's kind of, for me, where I learned quite a bit. And the fact that, we openly shared our experiences. When we discussed change management, learning from other people of experiences of what they did, kind of also imparts that knowledge of ways that you can go and apply it. There's no better way to learn from someone's experiences as well. Somebody that has actually walked the talk, or, that kind of a thing. So for me, that was what was also essential, and also, like I said, moving away from that general stereotype that this is what I know, this is how it's done. And you hear from someone else that's done it in Kenya, someone that's done it in a different place, Nigeria, and on my group, we had a guy from Portugal, those kind of things. So it really gave you a diverse opportunity, having everyone in that area for that time. And then further to that, being able to connect. I mean, Joshita and I have become very close. We've, we were key in establishing the Ubuntu group. So those are all things that, goes beyond that. And for me, that's what makes the platform with EBS so great. It forms the catalyst. It's not only about EBS, it's about the tools and the empowerment that stems from EBS and through the program.
I completely agree with you, Louis. And, like you said, that you and Joshita have become really close. Now, you come from completely different professional backgrounds. You work in supply chain, you have project management experience, while Dr. Joshita is, well, a doctor. So I think, that definitely helps students a lot, because you get to interact with people from different domains. So, it definitely broadens your, exposure, and it teaches you a lot of things. So that is really amazing.
I think I have a similar question to Joshita. Yes, Louis.
Sorry, just to add to that,
Yeah, please.
Many of the curriculum, some of it was not in the medical field. So for someone like Joshita, it was something new to her, but through the partnerships, through the, if I had been on something and it was AI, I would have reached out to Debbie and said, hey, Debbie, I need help here because I'm swimming in a pond I don't know. As human beings, we don't know everything. Yeah. Yes, you have an MBA, but that doesn't mean learning stops, Ashik. So,
exactly.
I had opportunities where I could teach the doctor as well. Joshita could ask me. And when it came to other things, I could leverage off the skills that she had. And that's what makes life exciting. We all have our own skills, our own gifts, but it's when we harness those together through this platform that you grow immensely.
Right. And how about for Dr. Joshita? How has it been? I mean, you have been part of various other peers, who are from different domains. And has it helped, with your organization, when you work with different departments? How has it been for you?
Yes, definitely. I sit in the management review meeting in my institution, and I'm in charge of the business continuity plan. And I'm also I'm leading the team that is doing the emergency response plan, the crisis communication plan. We have a disaster recovery plan. So the modules that have been covered, like strategic change management. I could adopt models from there, like the Robertson's model, or we can use so many other things. And even the operation management, you can adopt models like the smart strategies. You can have how are the strategic objectives for the internal and external stakeholders. You can use the SWOT analysis, cause and effect program, risk-based quality management system, etc., etc. So like what Louis said, some of these modules are not directly medical related. However, because I am now in charge of the healthcare management, this has become so relevant and so important, because I mean, you basically want to get the knowledge which you want to apply, and it's going to also not upgrade yourself, it's also going to empower others. So the business skills, or the skills that I brought to the table, is now well received by my institution. My director has opened up so many opportunities for those who think that healthcare management and leadership is not related to strategic change management. You are wrong. It's all interconnected. You would definitely apply whatever you are learning as part of your whole EBS module or structure into your institution. My dissertation topic was the role of IT, information technology, during the pandemic management. Like, we actually used softwares to detect those who are positive patients, how are their symptoms being monitored, what are the tools they need when they do traveling, what are the tools needed for even foreigners to come into Malaysia, etc. So my dissertation has also put a benchmark for any outbreaks that would happen in future. 5 years down the line, you can have let's say a leptospirosis or even a MERS-CoV outbreak, and it becomes a pandemic. Malaysia has already have a system in place that we could just adapt according to that particular outbreak and just apply it. So my dissertation, as well as my skills that I've achieved from the program, have been so relevant in terms of the continuity of the healthcare management. So I'd really appreciate EBS for giving me that knowledge skill.
I can only say that I'm getting goosebumps now.
And we certainly hope that it doesn't come to that we have another pandemic and we'll need to apply that.
Yeah.
But if God forbid it happens, we will know that Malaysia is prepared for that, all thanks to Dr. Joshita. And, when you were telling me, it reminded me that, I was speaking once to a prospective student, and he had a similar background. He had a science related background. He had a bachelor's degree in, I think, botany or zoology. And his work was also in a similar field. And I asked him, what is the reason you want to do an MBA? What is your motivation? And he told me that, when I speak with my CEO, he talks to me about business and all of that, and I feel clueless, and I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of him. That's why I want to do an MBA. I want to know what I'm talking about. So, what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense. And, that is the truth with a lot of our students who come from backgrounds, they don't have a bachelor's in business related domain, but they come and do an MBA with us, and they apply their, previous skills to the business, and they, do well with their career.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with that.
All right. So moving on to something, a little serious. I have a question for Miss Debbie. Now, we know that, you are a powerful woman in AI. AI is an up and coming field, and, usually STEM is something that is dominated by men. For most part, it has been. So I want to ask you that, gender equality is definitely a very debated topic in today's world. And as someone who has achieved success in a traditionally male dominated field, how can we encourage more women to pursue careers in STEM? What do you think can be done?
Can I just first of all, I just want to say one thing, and that is when Fazla Ashik, when he introduced himself to me, he said, "How can I help you? How can we give you wings?"
That's
that was
sweet.
to me the most beautiful thing, and that made me realize this is exactly what EBS is doing. You just give us wings to fly. So and that is how I feel about my career also. I've always said that I feel so lucky because I really have job satisfaction. I really do love what I do. And we need to encourage ladies very early at school by showing them the satisfaction that you can get by pursuing a career in STEM. So, for example, when I was at school, I had a very good friend that was developing computer programs on a Mac, those very first Macs. And I was amazed. That is where I thought, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. So when the ladies, you just need to get them hooked, but then how to get them stay in the field is also a very important portion of it, because 50% of women leave their careers mid-career, and that is a sad truth. But the advice that I would give for ladies is to stay technical for as long as possible. You don't have to go and climb that corporate ladder. You can stay technical, just love what you do what you love, and everything you can do to get confidence. Read a lot, get lots and lots of mentors. That really helps you with a imposter syndrome, which is something strangely women in their 50s have on average higher imposter syndrome than other people, and I can see why, and that's because the corporate ladder is an unwelcome obstacle to a lot of women, where for men it's a they love it. They love to to convince people that they should get the next promotion, where women actually just want their work to talk for itself. But then, the other thing that I would like to say is, and this goes to everyone, have an entrepreneur mindset, meaning treat your career as your own business. Do your branding, and that is for your entire career. If you do that, every single job that you have is like your own brand that you're growing, and the excellence will start shining through.
That was beautiful, Debbie. And like you rightly said in the beginning, Ashik asked you how can we give you wings? I think that is one very important thing. Women need to surround themselves with supportive group of people, whether it's family, friends, or people like EBS who can help them achieve their dreams. So thank you for that, Debbie.
It sounded like Ashik worked for Red Bull or for Emirates. They was asking Debbie for wings.
In fact, at EBS, everybody believes, it's like, certainly it is wings, in fact. It is, if there is some kind of achievement, we have at EBS, it is those careers, it is our students. When we look at them, when they take flight, we say, great, we are a part of that flight, small part of it. And that's awesomely satisfying. So thanks very much.
I agree with Ashik. I agree with Ashik.
Yeah, thank you. Really
And
appreciate
so the marketing team is doing a brilliant job. The internal, the people who are allocated to us to help us. I mean, that's something, it's like when you do banking and you have a personal banker. This is what it feels like to me with Fazla, Ashik. Honestly, I feel like I have my personal banker person. And so the internal team, and then your graphic designers are absolutely brilliant. I mean, those posts that you put out on LinkedIn and so on. So I think the next one should be EBS gives you wings.
We'll definitely relay that.
Thank you. Great. Louis, if you're okay, can I ask you a question when it comes to the faculties, where Debbie has said, it has been pretty satisfying how she has taken a career forward. How do you feel, our faculties are up to the mark, or do you think where there is an area where certain improvements can be implemented?
So, I mean, for me, it's like I've gotten to know the faculty quite well. I've got involved with the faculty. For me, what really touched me was the openness of the faculty. You can be good at your job, but if you're not willing to listen, to have an open ear, and be willing to. So in my engagements with faculty, there were a lot of things that I challenged. I gave advice. I said, this is not, this is something we can do. This is something we can improve on. And that was so great that it was taken to heart, when I remember, Ashik, when I played football, we won the league that year, and my uncle was the coach. And one of the things he said is so profound that has never left me. He said to us, getting to the top is not as easy as staying on top. Getting to the top is not as easy as staying on top. And what that meant for me was, when you become the best, it's great that we pat ourselves on the shoulder and everything, but never become complacent. And that's one thing I can say about the faculty. Always searching to learn and listen. What I appreciate about the faculty is that you can talk to anybody. They're available. I thought I was the only person that don't sleep at night and sleep and work around the clock, Hiba. But these guys, it's exactly the same, always willing to listen. Hey, Louis, what's the problem? How can we help? Those kind of things. There were times that I reached out to them and I said, hey, guys, in my class, this person wasn't happy. I was okay, but, this is something we need to note. And it was listened to. I do believe in life. If you go, my late mom taught me something. It's easy to come up with a complaint, but if you don't have a solution, then you need to keep quiet. Because everybody can complain, but nobody comes with a solution. So those are the kind of things, and those are the healthy conversations that I used to have with Ashik and the team. Hey guys, here's the problem, but what do you think about this? And that's what I appreciated. So much so that I still have that relationship today, with the guys. And I mean, for me, it's beyond just the MBA, Iba, you mentioned something, and I think Debbie also mentioned it. It's not just about getting the MBA, tick exercise. It's being able to apply that MBA. I heard you say, somebody said I was talking to my boss and I felt lost when my boss was talking about certain things. Yes. The MBA gives you the tools to be able to think at that level. But if you're not going to apply yourself, then those tools mean nothing. As great as Ashik is as a lecturer, as great as Dr. Joshita is as a lecturer, she sometimes threatens you with the needles that you must listen. But the point is, if you don't know how to go out and apply it, then that MBA actually means nothing to you. Because I can tell you one thing, I've seen it with experience, and I'm sure Debbie and Joshita have seen it. I've seen companies where they've got MBA students straight off the bat, brilliant marks, but asked to apply it in the real world, they lost, like a deer that's stuck in the headlights. So, you know, it's important that it's not just a tick box exercise to get a better job. It's about learning to apply yourself. And that for me is important. And the fact that the faculty was always there to guide you, to give you advice, to guide you on the way. For me, that's what sets EBS apart.
That is wonderful, Louis. And like you said, like you very rightly said, that it's not just about doing the MBA, it's about applying it. And, we keep that in mind, which is why our programs are obviously, you all know, executive MBA programs where the students need to have a certain amount of work experience, which means you come from the background where you have a little bit of context. And what we give you, it only adds value to whatever you already have. So that, enhances your profile overall. So, that was amazing to hear about your experience.
I just wanted to add, Hiba, as well, the lecturers, the way they facilitate conversation amongst the students is what's important. You know what I really liked was, I mean, my very first lecturer, I'll never forget, was Dr. Ravi Kadam, and we did sustainability. And I thought, what the heck is the sustainability? Oh, I'm starting off on the wrong note. Here I go. I'm gonna. But the way she explained it, I realized that sustainability is everything. We all do it. Sustainability is what you apply in real life at home, saving things, using cost effectiveness, sustainability in the workplace. But what I loved about what she did was she facilitated conversation. She didn't come across as, oh, I'm the know-it-all. She would say, like, hey, Debbie, what have you experienced in your career? Can you share it with the forum? So not only was I learning about sustainability, I was benefiting from Debbie's experiences, from Joshita's experiences. And for me, that's smart and that's unique. And I mean, I totally encourage that kind of learning.
Which means the classes were definitely not boring. And, for Joshita, especially since you were taking classes late at night, I'm sure you must not be sleeping off during them.
No, Joshita's not telling you that at one lecture they heard us snoring there in the background, Hiba. So, only kidding.
To snore in the background. I mean, those lecturers were on top of you, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the relationship, obviously, I see the kind of bond you all have, the alumni that we have, the kind of bond you have amongst each other, and the kind of, relationship you have built. I would like to know from you, Joshita. I think Louis already mentioned Ubuntu. So, taking that forward, I want to ask you, how did EBS assist you with your initiatives with the global issues and social responsibility?
I am very happy to talk on that topic because it is so not only academically EBS equipped us, EBS also opened doors for networking and connecting with many colleagues from many parts of the world. And that's how Ubuntu was born. Ubuntu was a global networking group where we had current students as well as alumni from various disciplines, right? We don't even not only have doctors, we have people from different backgrounds. We have bankers, we have supply chain managers, HR personnel, we have IT people, pharmacies, doctors, and etc. So I was the chairperson of Ubuntu when Ubuntu was started. So I had personal connections with people from various parts of the world. And as I said, people from various expertise, because I would personally contact them to invite them to give expert talks. That was something that we were doing. So I was able to, while interacting with them, allow me to change my thinking caps, I can now think like a banker, I can think like a HR personnel, how they operate, how they strategize and whatnot. So, these organizing talks was something that was very useful. And also apart from that, we had mentoring process as well. Some of our colleagues would get in touch with some of us to help them in their dissertation. You go through, you guide and help. And then on top of that, you're also helping them in their Viva preparations. So there was already so much of connections and also embrace the cultural diversities. For the first time, I had so many people or so many friends who became like siblings from the African continent. All throughout my academic life, I only had 2 lecturers, one from Ghana, one from Nigeria. Never had so many friends from the African continent. So this Ubuntu made me even walk into the African continent. And I went to Namibia, volunteered 3 months to work at Novanam, which is the fishing industry in Namibia, and one of our colleagues is the general manager there. And I also went to the school in Namibia to give counseling and talks. So this is something that, apart from the academic side alone, our colleagues and our network and also our willingness to actually connect and, at open doors to think like them or get to know their profession, how they apply models into their areas, their domains, and also, how is their culture? How do they operate? How do they think? So this is something that Ubuntu per se had opened doors for me. And Louis, because of EBS, I was able to come first for the graduation ceremony that happened last year, March, in Dubai. And I even get to meet Dr. Vivek Mohan, Dr. Salma, Ashik, and Sadiq, and Azam, and all these people. There were already connections with the faculty members. So that also kind of shows, I appreciate how much they have helped me to empower myself and also to connect with all my colleagues. I was also able to connect with some of my friends from various parts of the world. So definitely EBS and Ubuntu at open doors for this connection, this journey that is not just ending here. It has become an anchor. EBS has become an anchor for us to continue this journey together.
That was wonderful to hear, Joshita.
Thank you, Joshita.
Now, since you say that EBS has become an anchor for you to continue your journey, I think I have a question that the 3 of you would really find interesting, I guess. I would like to know, since you, Debbie is in the process of completing her MBA, but both of you have completed your MBA. So what do you miss about EBS?
I'm not missing EBS. I'm still part of the Students' Council as the head of Students' Communication, actively involved in planning the formation of, regional alumni chapters. I've drawn out a plan for the Southern African Alumni Chapter, which is coming up shortly. We have already been part of the UAE Alumni Chapter. And, I think I'm not missing EBS yet. I'm actively involved, actively participating, and I'm also with Louis helping out with the council members, advising them as to, what does the constitution or the handbook says, and, how you should go about doing things. And so there's a lot of things, there's a lot of ideas that we have brought to the table, in terms of how can the alumni chapter make an impact to the juniors as well as to the community. For instance, like the mentoring program that I mentioned about earlier. Also, having a business partnership, you can have professionals partnering with another person who is also an EBS graduate, which they came across during this networking process. And you can actually come up with the apprentice program. You can come up with the community intervention program. You can come up with journal writing. We have also planned for conference. We have also planned for road shows for, to promote EBS, right? Because for me, I'm still an ambassador for EBS. I'm still the head of the students' communication, and I'll actively participate in giving ideas and going about impacting our lives with the knowledge that I've gained from EBS. It's about not keeping it to myself. It's about imparting, and that's something Ubuntu talks about. It's about giving back to the society. In Xhosa, Ubuntu means you give back to the community. So that's my input on that.
Thank you, Joshita. What about you, Louis?
So I think I'm following Joshita's thing. I'm the head of alumni affairs for Eaton Business School. They've done such a good job that they basically kept Joshita and I, but it's not, I want to make something clear that it's not something that I was forced to do. It was something that I was honored to do. I pride myself on the saying, people will forget, as Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you've said. They may even forget what you did, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. EBS made you feel like it's a family. You were never alone. Like Joshita said, there's people to help you. We formed great networks where we helped one another. Debbie's finishing her MBA. We helped one another. We basically formed this bond. From the faculty side of things, I think I must be honest, nagging Ashik, when is this due? When is that? Nagging Mohammed Sadiq, those kind of things. Debbie knows it. I see her smiling. That part I do miss, because that's like an adrenaline rush that you're busy with all the time. It's due this time. When is my results coming out? Ashik, you said it's coming out that date. Why it's not coming out that date? That's something.
You know what, Louis? What happens is when you ask those questions, we are ready to give those answers to others as well.
Yes.
So we see that as being proactive.
No,
So
for sure,
good on us.
for sure. So I really, and I mean the fact that EBS has extended to us an opportunity to give back via the alumni chapters. I think it's one of the greatest things that EBS is doing. That Debbie has an opportunity to belong to something bigger, to form a constant network that goes beyond that. And like I said, there were not once did I ever feel an aura of isolation while being a part of it. There was always people to reach to. If I wasn't happy with Ashik, I'd go to Mr. Mashruk and I'd speak to him, and it wasn't a case of, no, I don't want to talk to you. This is what really, really that we appreciated. So that is something, I do miss that thrill. I've got till that day, Tiba, I need to get working. I need to find time between my work to submit it. I see Debbie smiling. She knows that, But I mean, at the end of the day, like Joshita said, it's the effort, like Debbie said, it's the effort you put in that reaps the rewards. I can truly say that the reward, the satisfaction, for me, the MBA wasn't about showing the world that I got an MBA. For me, it was showing myself that I can do this. And I think that was key, because the EBS team showed that they believed in me. I wasn't just, a number to submit a lot of money and that kind of thing. I mean, I know it's your business. That's what you do. But everyone showed that it's more than that. I still have relationships with Ashik and the guys that's beyond this. The fact that, like Joshita said, we connected to the EBS, the current council. We're part of the alumni. We involved wherever we can, showing contributions, getting involved. I mean, that's wonderful, right? Because it lives beyond you. I mean, at some point when Debbie comes through, she's got time. I'm going to be happy to hand the baton over to her and say, Debbie, you support Joshita. She's given me a hard time for too long. Please come over and deal with her. That. But I mean, yeah, and I mean, that for me is what has made it special for me. Thanks.
You're welcome. And Debbie, it wouldn't be right to ask you, what do you miss? Because you're still in the process of it. But what would you like to say about this?
Yeah, so just a tiny bit of personal story. I actually started the journey in 2020, and I actually got cancer in the middle of this whole thing, and I had to go and recover, and you have no idea. So this is an additional kudos
Wow.
to EBS, where they just had so much patience with me. They just let me, I mean, but I was pushed. I was not allowed to just go back and and climb in a hole and just disappear. They pulled me through this whole process. And that, I mean, I'm now in the final stages. I'm almost finished with my dissertation. So all good, all healthy. I'm fine now. So
we are watching for you, Debbie.
Yeah. And
no,
Debbie,
I'm so
and
grateful.
Debbie, you know, you've got Joshita and myself. Joshita was like a drill sergeant when she helped me with my with my presentation. She's an awful she's an awful support person. She's very strict, but you know that's what it's about, right? It's about the networking. So you know, don't hesitate. You've got in us friends. Don't hesitate. And I'm super proud of you. Wow, you know, it really. You keep going. You inspire us. I thought I would be here to inspire people, but I'm definitely inspired today. And no, Hiba, I won't be doing a third MBA. No.
You can do a DBA. That's
No,
okay.
no. I need a break from my feet now. I need a break.
You know, it's truly lovely to see all of you, listen to all of your stories. It's honestly, it's making me a little emotional listening to all of you, because the three of you have different stories of, you know, how you came to Eaton, what motivated you, how you started this, but, you know, the kind of bond, the kind of camaraderie you have, and you know, the end result, you know, you've been bonded from 3 different countries, from 3 different time zones, yet here we are talking about this, and you know, we are having a good time. So I'm really, really grateful to EBS for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be able to pick your brains, because the three of you are well accomplished people, really amazing in your own fields, and I'm glad to have had this opportunity. And I'm sure our audiences are also. So if the three of you will allow me, we have a few questions from the audience as well. You know, me and Ashik had our turn. We asked you all our questions, but now let's move on to the audiences also.
No
So,
problem.
thank you so much. So Francisca, she doesn't have a question, but she says, hello, everyone. Francisca here joining from Nairobi. I know that you're also our alumni, Francisca. So thank you for joining us. It is wonderful to have you here. And we have an anonymous attendee who's asking, can you please tell me more about the business? I am not sure what you mean, anonymous attendee. So if you can just elaborate on that, we'll definitely try to answer that.
I think there is one question for Mr. Louise. It comes from Christopher Setuke. You would be obviously knowing. So he says, good evening. Thanks to all panelists. A question to Louis. You came out strongly on the power of networking that EBS provided for you, and also mentioned that most students are from Africa. How best do you think this network can be created for all to take advantage and learn from each other? Regards, Chris Setuke.
Okay, so Chris Setuke is Debbie and my fellow South African. Yeah, so, you know, I like that question. So I honestly believe with the partnership of the alumni that's being formed, you know, currently Joshita's confirmed that the UAE alumni is being formed, and now the Southern Africa alumni is going to be involved. And of course, we'll be knocking on Chris's door to get involved. But for me, that's a key factor in forming this bond of network of professionals from all over. You know, we're hoping to find, based on a survey, a place that we can house this workshop that we want to do. But it's that foundation that we want to plant through EBS that forms an alumni. And we're not here to prescribe what the alumni should do, but more to support the alumni with where they want to go. I know Chris is one of those guys. He's got a lot of brilliant ideas. You know, he's a leader. And hopefully, you know, for me, he will be one of the guys that stands out to start, you know, to get involved with the leadership and to form a pathway. For me, Ashik, what would be nice to see is that people that want to be inspired, that want to join, you know, EBS, that we could use this alumni to help these people get along. And maybe through the companies that we represent is organize sponsorships to get these people, and maybe for us to push EBS and say, hey, you know, we've got somebody that's really worth it. How can we sponsor this person? You know, so that it's not just about taking from people, but it's also about giving back. And, you know, to add on to what Chris has asked, it's also about, you know, forming a network that when someone needs a position or someone wants to relocate, you know, they want to do an AI job. We know, hey, we have a Debbie Botha in Abu Dhabi that's in this field. Debbie, you know, what can you do? And maybe not even get a job, but give advice to a young aspiring person. Right. I want to do this. What can I loved what Debbie said, you know, about women having to give up 50% of those women, you know, they don't continue with the technicality. For me, that's inspiring. And that we should tap into people like Debbie to say, how can you guide other people coming forward? And that's what I'm hoping through the networks, you know. And then the next step, Ashik, is to form this Eastern Africa alumni, and then the Northern Africa, whatever. And that for me is what I really like about this idea, you know, inspiring. And the other thing too is that, you know, learning from every alumni chapter as we go along. What were the things that the UAE alumni chapter didn't do great or they missed? We can now take it to the Southern Africa alumni, then take it over to the Eastern Africa. So for me, that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a network of connections where somebody needs a position or somebody, you know, we can reach out and say, hey, you studied through EBS, you know, you in this field. We know a lady, like I said, Debbie, we know a doctor in Malaysia. Do you want, you know, do you want to join the medical field? So that for me would be something that I'm passionate about. And that's why, you know, just to go back to what Joshita said, you know, Ubuntu truly means I am, I am because we are, you know, and that's why we're passionate about it. So, you know, I hope I answered Chris's question, you know, but yeah, that's where we want to go with this. And then
Chris would be happy with the answer.
And just to add in closing there, Ashik, it's not for us as the alumni affairs to dictate where the Southern Africa chapter must go. It's for us to basically establish, hand over the baton, and we work to support the teams that do it. That's how it should be done. It should not be an autocratic way of things. It should grow within them.
Right, very much, very much. Thanks for that elaborate answer and the spirit which you show. That's something that also, you know, shares the spirit of EBS as well. Very well said, precisely.
Thank you. Now, I think it's more of a testimony we have from Oluwa Bukola Bamitel. And I think based on the conversation we had with the three of you, he's sharing that my experience was similar. EBS was popping up for me. It was that EBS degree and certification was going to be approved by WES for me. That was the driver. My degree was verified by WES, which helped my immigration goal. I'm now relocated to Canada partly because I graduated to EBS. So thank you for sharing that with us, Oluwa Bukola. I am sure that you worked really hard to earn that degree. And yes, you're right. Our MBA degrees are WES approved. So in case you're planning to migrate to the US or Canada, your degree will be evaluated or it will be equalized on the same level of master's. So that should definitely help you. So thank you for sharing that. And we have Varda, your dear friend, Varda Ismail, and she wanted to let all of you know that she's very proud of you. That was very sweet of you, Varda.
Shukran,
now, we have a question from Agang. He or she says, hello, I would like to ask about, is there any difference module between international MBA and hospital management MBA program? My background is medical doctor and my position now is hospital director. Maybe you can give me some advice. Thank you. So I think I can answer that for you, Agang. The difference between international MBA and hospital management MBA, which is basically our MBA in healthcare management, which Dr. Joshita has done, is the specialization modules. So our MBA has 6 modules. The 4 modules are the core modules, which are same across all MBA specializations, which is how I think Louis and Joshita got to interact with each other when they were doing their, core modules. Your specialization modules would vary. Now, depending on your position, you have told me you're a doctor, you're a hospital director. Now, depending on what your career goals are, I'm sure your academic advisor can advise you on which MBA program is better for you. So I would advise you to get in touch with them to, carry it forward. Now, we also have a question from an anonymous attendee to my South African fellows. Can you please confirm if your EBS qualifications were validated by SACA? Louis or Debbie? Oh, Debbie has not completed. So what about you, Louis?
So I'm not based in South Africa anymore. So I mean, so I didn't ask for my qualifications to be validated by SAQA, but the fact that it's a European degree that comes out of Guillermo Marconi, I mean, I don't foresee any challenges from a SAQA perspective. And it's an internationally recognized degree. So I wish I could have answered more, but like I said, I know SAQA is a South African education institute that verifies and sanctions that degree. It shouldn't be an issue.
That's completely okay, Louis. I can answer that for the anonymous attendee. Our MBA program is accredited and it is equalized by SAQA. In fact, when you get it equalized by SAQA, it is equalized on an NQF level 9. One of our learners, in fact, many of our learners go through that, but one of our learners recently got their MBA degree equalized and they got that equivalency letter as well from SAQA. Just get in touch with your advisor and I'm sure they can share that sample with you. That will give you a lot more, satisfaction and peace of mind knowing that, your degree will be equalized in South Africa.
Yeah.
Now, we have a question from Richard. Many thanks to the panelists for an engaging interaction this evening. I have two questions to the panelists. How do you create the alumni organization? And how do you manage the work, study, and family responsibility during the course of the program? So we can start with question number 2. I would like to ask Debbie, since she is in the process of doing it. So how do you manage the work, life, study balance?
I call it integration because there's never a balance. It's always, you always give a bit more to the one side and then you give a bit more to the other side. So when it's time to study, you put in the hours. I'm an early bird, so I like to get up very, very early in the morning, and that's when my head is working, my brain is working. So I do most of my things before my family even wakes up. Other people would like to do it in the evenings. Find a time that works for you and just go for it. I mean, it doesn't last forever. So just go and do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Debbie. Now, the first part of the question, how do you create the alumni organization? Can you tell us more, Dr. Joshita?
Okay, sure. We have a team because in the student council, there are the team members. That's the president, the vice president, the secretary, and Louis and I were nominated as the head of alumni chapter and head of student communication. So we have a head who is currently Mr. Shahid Wani, and then Ashik is also in that team. So, we came together, and because UAE had the largest number of student pool, so we started with UAE. So first we organized Google meetings with them, and we actually sent out emails and invited them saying that, okay, this is Eaton Business School. We are proud that you have, graduated. However, we want you to
I think you've been muted, Dr. Joshita.
process of doing the alumni chapter where you can still contribute in terms of mentoring and business partnership and all these things. So that's how we connected with them through the email. We had a Google Meet, and then there was a physical meeting. And once the physical meeting was in place, then there were membership forms that were sent for them to actually accept and become part of the alumni chapter. And once the UAE chapter was formed, there was also a mini committee that was formed. There was a chairperson, a vice chair, as well as the secretary for the UAE chapter per se, to organize activities that is either for the UAE alumni per se or for the whole body. And then we moved on to the second largest regional group, that was the Southern African team, which consists of 10 countries, students from 10 countries. So we are now in the process, the same process, sending out emails, getting a survey as to what is their background like, how are they willing to contribute, where would they want to have the first meet. So in the meantime, we would also have 2 Google Meets, and we have planned for a physical meet end of October. So this is how our alumni chapter is formed. We follow advice or directives from our lead faculty member, who is Mr. Shahid Wani, and also advice from Ashik. And then we will move to other regions. We'll probably move to the Eastern African region, Central, Northern, etc. We are just, as facilitators to allow the communication going, the engagement of the students, as well as plans to how to keep them engaged with the faculty as well as the junior students who are joining. Yeah.
And just to add on top of that as well, the alumni is formed from people that have already graduated from EBS. That's how the thinking goes behind that. So as we move on to the various chapters, we will be incorporating more of those people. And once the chapter is already established, someone like Debbie that then graduates will just have the opportunity of joining the UAE chapter.
Woohoo.
Hopefully, we will meet next time when we have the next meeting, Debbie.
Great.
All right. I think we have taken up a lot of your time, and it was a pleasure speaking with the 3 of you. I am more than grateful
Sorry
to.
to interview. There's somebody's name that's up here. Taiwo Tajuddin Tunde. That hand has been up for a while. Sorry, I just wanted to mention. I don't know if I have a question or something.
If you have a question, you can just enter it in the Q&A section.
I'll just ask you as of now.
I think we don't have any question from them. Okay, Zishan Sadiq is wanting to thank everyone. You're welcome, Zishan. Sangwa wants to say we are encouraged with Madam Debbie's words. She really encouraged women and are having our organization, Women Palm Tree Organization. We would really love Madam to help us with more advices. So I think you can follow Debbie on LinkedIn. She is quite active over there. You can follow her LinkedIn, and you can get in touch with her. You can connect with her, and I'm sure she'll be happy to help you out. Isn't that, Debbie?
Yeah, without a doubt. Very happy to.
Thank you. Christopher is saying that it is impressive to see you as panelists. I'm proud of you. You have mentioned your participation in the Ubuntu Leadership Group and alumni chapters. Kindly clarify the difference in layman's term.
And he also adds he's super proud of you.
Oh,
I think, yeah, Christopher wants to know what is the difference between Ubuntu and alumni chapters.
so the Ubuntu group was formed based by students who wanted to grow throughout, to form a networking platform that could grow beyond EBS. And it was stemming from EBS. So that's what Ubuntu was. Right now, the Ubuntu leadership has been handed over from Joshita, myself, and Warda. It's been handed over to new leadership. So that's great that it's been handed over. From a alumni chapter perspective, we work closely with EBS itself as volunteers, and we are now building up the alumni of people that have graduated through EBS. So the alumni is focused on those who have graduated. Ubuntu is focused on everybody that's those who have not yet graduated, as well as those that have come from the alumni. That's for me the difference between the two. And I hope that answers Chris's question.
Thank you, Louis. We have a question from Ben. Can someone with diploma with 20 years of experience join EBS. Yes, Ben, why not? Definitely you can join EBS. Now the program that you want to enroll in, the program that you're eligible for, that completely depends on, the specifics of your profile. So I would suggest you get in touch with your academic advisor. He'll advise you more on that. And David Tetty Porty, similar advice goes to you. Get in touch with your assigned academic advisor. They are the best at giving you personalized advice, when it comes to your work profile. What is the program that is suitable for you? Will it help your profile? So that should definitely help you guys. And if you have any other specific questions, or you want to ask certain more details, you can always send your inquiry to info@ebsedu.org. Somebody will get in touch with you within the 24 hours once you send an email over there. All right. So I think, like I was saying earlier, we have taken up a lot of Louis, Debbie, and Joshita's time. Thank you to the three of you for joining us, and thank you to the attendees. And like I mentioned, if the attendees have any other questions about the courses, or maybe something else that you want to ask, please feel free to drop an email at info@ebsedu.org. And now I would like to hand over to Ashik for a vote of thanks.
Sure, it would be my pleasure. We have had a wonderful audience who took the time from a very busy schedules and have joined us. Certainly, I do appreciate on behalf of Eaton Business School, and thank you all very much, especially the evening hours and late hours, especially for Dr. Joshita. Thank you, really appreciate. Thank you very much. And also, as EBS ambassadors, Debbie Botha, Dr. Joshita, Jyoti Manikam, and Louis James Hutton, thank you very much for sharing your insights, as well as all the moments you have had with Eaton Business School. And we hope that your stories inspire others to take this courageous step towards their dreams and goals with academic prowess, because it's a very tough thing that a person completes an MBA between their daily life, especially when they are working executives. So we really hope that more people join the course and complete their MBAs and doctorates and have bigger wings. In fact, also we wish you the very best for all your future endeavors, and hope that EBS plays a tiny part in your successes, as mentioned earlier. Also thanking Eaton Business School for organizing this kind of a webinar with such a wonderful and powerful panel, I would say, and for giving Hiba and I this opportunity to interact with them, these personalities. As one knows, Eaton Business School is always committed to nurturing future leaders who will revolutionize the business world. To know more, of course, you can visit our website at www.ebsedu.org, and also ensure that in order to understand your eligibility criteria, to please check it on the website, or when you get in touch with our advisors, they will inform you accordingly. So once again, thank you so much to the panels. Really appreciate your valuable time spent for us, and we look forward to meeting you once again. Thank you, and have a very good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Night,
you,
everyone.
Ashik.
Thank you.
Good
If
night.
any of you would like
Thank
to share
you.
any parting words.
Just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Pleasure
Looking forward.
connecting and networking with EBS and the rest of the team.
Thank you
night.
so much. Thank you and good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.